For the 90-90 PAILs and RAILs, I'm going to have you set up with 90 degrees through the front leg and 90 degrees through the back leg. So the shin and the thigh should be parallel to each other here. Most people are going to have trouble getting this front knee down to the ground. So in that case, I want you to get something to kind of bolster that, something to go underneath, just so you have some feedback to press into. So that's what we're going for here. So if you feel a little stretch in this position, what we want to do is find that point where it's stretching and you can't go a whole lot further, and strengthen up around that stretch so you gain some control and increase your range of motion through your hips. So for the first one, I want you to lean forward. You're going to lean over this shin, and you should feel a big stretch to the outside of this hip. You might feel a little bit through the inner groin. And from there, I want you to start pushing your knee down into this block. So if you think about driving a car, we're not going pedal to the metal to start with. I want you to go about 20 miles per hour to start. So start pushing down into that block about 20 miles per hour. Take a deep breath in. On the exhale, push a little bit harder, about 40 miles per hour. We're going to keep ramping that up. Push a little bit harder, 60 miles per hour. Just feel that intensify through the outside of the hip. Ramp it up to 80 miles per hour. And then as hard as you can, I want you to try to push this block through the ground. And then you're going to reverse directions. So this time you're going to try to lift that leg off the ground. Try to especially lift that foot off the ground. So we're trying to get as much external rotation of this hip as we can. So lift the leg off the ground as you pull your belly button down towards the spine. Now because of the position you're in, your leg isn't going to actually lift. But it's all about the intention and turning those muscles on. So feel like you're trying to lift off the ground. Feel like you're trying to pull your belly button down towards the leg, so you're actively getting closer here. So again, about 20 miles per hour to start. I want you to pull a little bit harder with the leg, so you're pulling yourself a little bit closer to the leg. 40 miles per hour. Deep breath in. Ramp it up to 60 miles per hour. Keep trying to lift that leg off the ground. 80 miles per hour. And then one more time. As hard as you can, try to lift that leg off the ground. You should be closer than you were at the beginning. But notice how it's still straight through the spine. So it's not a collapse down here. It's more of a pulling this straight line all the way down to the ground. So after you go 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, down and up through the front leg, we're going to switch to the same thing with the back leg. So rotate towards it. However, you need to support yourself with your hands. As you get better at this, you can do it without your hands, but that requires a little more core support. So start with your hands. And now we're going to start pushing this back shin down through the ground. So again, start pushing down about 20 miles per hour to start. Take a deep breath in. Drive a little bit harder, about 40 miles per hour. This one you should feel through the top of the hip here. Push a little bit harder, 80 miles per hour. Ramp it up a little bit harder. And then as hard as you can, I want you to try to push that leg down through the ground, like you're trying to make a dent through the ground. And then I want you to reverse it. Feel like you're trying to lift that leg off of the ground as you side bend this shoulder down towards the leg. So you should get a little side crunch sensation here. So again, 20 miles per hour to start. Again, this leg isn't going to actually lift, but you feel like you're trying to lift it as hard as you can. Lift a little bit harder, side bend a little bit harder, 60 miles per hour. Keep trying to lift that leg off the ground, 80 miles per hour. Lift a little bit harder, and then as hard as you can. I want you to try to lift that leg off the ground. You feel a big sensation here. A couple notes on this back one. You might get a little cramping. It's okay. Kind of shake it out and get back into it. That cramping just tells your body that you don't have a lot of control in that position. So your brain's like, whoa, I'm not sure if I have this control. I'm not sure I feel comfortable with this. So it sends that cramping mechanism. The more control we can gain here, the less cramping there'll be. The other thing with this back one is try not to let this knee come way off here. So again, another reason for that bolster is it's going to give you that feedback as you're stretching this back leg that you're not letting this one come way off the ground. You want to keep that contact the whole time. After you do up and down on both sides here, we'll switch and do the same thing on the other leg. 90, 90, push and pull through the front, push and pull through the back.